Yeah, I got grandbabies, but it's not just my job to spoil my grandchildren. It's my job to teach them some shit. Because don't fuck with me, that's what it is, okay? I was babysitting for my granddaughter, Zaya, and I made her a sandwich, a bowl of soup, and some milk. She looked at that and said, "We don't eat that." I said, "Well, what do you eat?" "We eat chicken McNuggets, chicken McNuggets." I said, "Don't sing about chicken, we black, don't do that, don't do that." So I went to her great-grandmother's house and got one of her live chickens. And I brought that chicken back, and she said, "Grandma, what's that?" I said, "This, my love, is chicken McNuggets." And I threw that chicken in the yard, and I said, "Now you catch that chicken, we'll have some chicken McNuggets." Well, after chasing that chicken for about 3 hours, she was more than happy to eat that sandwich and a bowl of soup. Now, some of you new parents, you fucking it up. You got the game messed up. I see you on TV. "My child is my best friend." Your child is not your friend. Your child is your offspring, your progeny. It is your job to govern your child. Your child can be your friend when they pack their shit and get the fuck out your house. I ain't friends with nobody who can't buy weed or liquor. I just don't see where that's the win-win in this relationship. How many people have grown children still asking them for money by applause? Before I came here, my daughter Magdalene asked me, "Mom, do you have $185? I said, "Yes, I do." Click. You know, some of you young people, you could have got up out your seat and let these older people have the seat. See, that's why the Shakespeare said, "Youth is wasted on the young." See, you motherfuckers don't think you gonna get old. If you lucky, you will. Right now, your titties is perky and shit. But one day you gonna wake up and one titty gonna be over here and one titty gonna be over there. You gonna lift it up, find a gummy bear and eat it. And say, "Ain't God good?" You're a young man, your nuts is tight. Your nuts is tight. But one day you gonna sit on the toilet, your nuts gonna hit the water. You gonna ask her to suck your dick, she gonna go, "Smell like boo-boo, can't do it." See, the funny thing about young people is that they think their parents have a favorite child. We don't have a favorite child. All of our children are our favorites just for different reasons. Now, I'm not gonna say Adam is my favorite, but I'm gonna say he mine. I had him. My husband is from Trinidad. We got to the hospital at 2 a.m. Bill went to park the car, came back, 2:28, he was holding his son. He looked at me and said, "You make that baby fast." That baby outweighed his twin sisters. They thought he was twins. That baby came 3 weeks early. I tell people he came out early because there was no more room in the inn. I nursed him till he was 5. I'm lying. I nursed him for a year. And I tell you, young sisters, when you do have your babies, you should nurse them because it's a beautiful and bonding thing. And my husband thought it was beautiful and bonding too the first couple of months, but around 5, 6, 7 months, he looking at this boy like he the master cock blocker of the free world. He's scared he ain't gonna see my pussy no more in life. We were fooling around, and Adam started crying. I jumped up and started nursing him. Bill is pacing back and forth going, "Look at he do it on purpose." And my son, with my tit in his mouth, looked up at his daddy and smiled and patted my breast as if to say, "Later for you, Negro, later for you." That sweet, precious boy told me something I didn't want to hear. Told me he was in love, that this girl was different and special. I said, "Why am I the last one to find out?" He said, "'Cause Ma, you know how you are." And I said, "How the fuck am I?" And his father and him went. I said, "Well, what's Special's name?" He said, "Melissa." I said, "What's different about it?" He said, "She's an albino." So I said, "Bring the rabbit over." He brings Melissa over. Melissa is a statuesque, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, look like a Swedish model. I said, "Boy, that ain't no albino, that's a cracker. What you talking about?" I'm teasing. I don't use those euphemisms in my home, nor have I taught my children to use those euphemisms. I just said that to say this. You can't tell your children who to love. They gonna love who the fuck they wanna love, and if you're wise, you'll keep your narrow-minded opinions to yourself and enjoy your grandchildren. I love Melissa to death, but that's the non-cookingest bitch I ever laid eyes on. Everything she cooked, Campbell soup, got something to do with it. She made some kind of gray gelatinous shit. Bill looked at it and said, "Me not eating that." I looked up at my son. I said, him not to eat not? He said, you have to. I love her. I said, no, you fucking her. You got to eat it. We going to Popeyes. Now, one of my twins is married to a woman. Don't look at me crazy. I support my children. And for the people that profess to be such great Christians, let us be clear on something. It's not between me and God, it's between her and God. And if I'm not mistaken, the Bible clearly states, judge not lest ye be judged. Now, some of y'all got family members get drunk every weekend. You got to bail them out of jail. My daughter just eating pussy. The way I got it figured, I'm ahead of the game. I remember like it was yesterday. Magdalene called me up. She said, Mama, Keisha gave me a 2.5 carat platinum diamond ring. I said, what? She said, Keisha gave me a 2.5 carat platinum diamond ring. I said, put Keisha on the phone. I said, Keisha, did you give my baby a ring? She said, yes, ma'am, I did. I said, what you trying to say? She said, well, I know I took her out your house, and I know I'm 10 years older than her, but I love your daughter. I promise you, she won't want for nothing. All her needs will be met. I adore your daughter. I want to grow old with your daughter. And I said, wow. Her daddy didn't even say that to me. I said, put Magdalene back on the phone, please. I said, Magdalene, what kind of pussy eating is you over there doing? I've been fucking your daddy for 10 years. He ain't gave me no 2.5 carat platinum diamond ring. You tell mommy what you did. Tell mommy what you did. So she asked me, she said, will you tell daddy? And I said, fuck, I don't feel like that. And the reason I don't feel like that, because foreign black men are the most homophobic men on the face of the earth. And that's because homosexuality is not tolerated in their country, or they eradicate it. So I don't feel like telling him. I don't. I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for him to come home and stuff. I'm nervous. What a friend we have in Jesus. Oh, hi, Bill. How you doing? How was your day? Me day good. That's good. That's good. So, Bill, you know Magdalene, right? He said, yeah, me know she. I said, well, Magdalene's gay. He said, oh, who's the cock and who's the hen? I said, Magdalene is the hen, but that's really not the issue. The issue is Keisha gave Magdalene a 2.5 carat platinum diamond ring. And I've been fucking you for how long, man? How long? You know, here lately in the news, there's been a lot of racial upheaval going on in this country. And I wanted to tell you, because we good friends now, because we talked about dick and everything, is that we are all Americans. We are one nation under God. Hold on. And if we have never stuck together, we better stick together now. Because if any other country was ever to come over here and take over, we all be niggas, and some of y'all are inexperienced.
Now my kid is in college and it's all about making friends. I was like, why? Make friends when you join Doctors Without Borders. And she's like, Mom, be serious. I have to make some friends. I said, okay, I'm going to give you the guidelines on who you can be friends with. You cannot be friends with any communications majors. No sociology, no geology, no anthropology. What even is that? Everybody's dead. No kids who play music, no kids who do drama, recruited athletes. Do I even need to say the words? And she's like, so I can't have any friends. I said, I didn't say that. Did I say that? No, right? I said, comp sci is good. Engineering, pre-med, basically all the Indian kids. And she's like, what if I meet an Indian kid who's an art major? I said, that doesn't exist. And if you meet that kid, get his mother's phone number. We might need to check on her. She might be about to jump in front of a train. So are we all familiar with the acronym STEM in education? We all know what it stands for? What does it stand for? Science, technology, engineering, math. So have you heard about the controversy surrounding this acronym? They want to add art to it. Because the artists are feeling excluded. And they want to make it STEAM. What are they trying to do to us? Do they realize that if you add art to STEM, there will be no STEAM? Do they think that the guy who invented the steam engine ran a puppet show on the side? They think they can just disrupt the world order like that? How would they like it if we added a spelling bee to the NFL? But let me tell you about my 16-year-old son, so handsome. I can show you a photo afterwards if you want. My 16-year-old son recently started walking to school with a girl. So I follow them. And my husband's been so impressed with me. He's like, our son is walking to school with a white blonde girl. And you don't have a problem with that. I told him there's nothing to worry about. It's not like she's going to get into a good college. Whatever, cancel me, I don't care. Besides, the blondes don't even get that joke. Now, my daughter called me the other day and she's like, I just met a boy. I was like, why? You're born here, you don't need a green card. She's like, Mom, he's really nice. Nice? Who needs nice? We need rich. And she's like, Mom, hear me out. He's an engineering major. I said, okay, I'm listening. He's from Connecticut. Fine, go on. His mom is the head of development at HBO. I said, he's got potential. So I have a third kid. I forget about him sometimes. I don't know what to say about him. I don't really know him. I mean, the nanny says he's perfect. But in our house, we don't use the word nanny. We call her auntie. Because this way she can sit in for us at parent-teacher conferences, at doctor appointments, at college graduations. But speaking of college, I have to tell you, I have uncovered the world's biggest scam. Did you guys know that in this country, the parents don't get to decide what the kid's gonna study? You all knew this? I really thought when my kid goes to college, I will call the college up. And I will say, Comp Sci 1, Comp Sci 2, go. She wants to have some fun. I understand that. Give her one class in chemistry. It does not work that way. They're so rude, they'd hang up on me. So I had to call my kid and ask her. I was like, what are you enrolled in? What are you studying? Are you guys ready for this? Ceramics. $80,000 to learn how to make clay pots. Do you know who else makes clay pots? Villagers in India. Because they have nothing else to do. My kid is in Palo Alto, the epicenter of technology, making clay pots. Why am I being punished, Ganesh? Do you know how bad something has to be when the nice white guy in the audience is like, oh no? And now I have an update on this situation and you guys are gonna think I'm making it up. I'm not, I'm telling you the truth. I just found out that she's required to take a class in wellness. So she's enrolled in meditation, which costs extra. While she's meditating, I'm gonna go have a stroke. I mean, I'm an immigrant parent in America. It's hard for me to raise my kids here. I'll tell you why. Because here, people like to do dangerous things just for fun. Just for the thrill of it, they like to go sliding down mountains, fall out of airplanes, dive into oceans, just for the thrill of it. Back home, when I wanted to experience the thrill, I drank tap water. Now, my son wants to go bungee jumping. Could you imagine? My son, my daughter, whatever. And I said, no, you can't go. And he goes, why not? My friend Scott went. Scott. He put a photo on Instagram. I said, Scott should go bungee jumping. Scott has a B in math. He has nowhere to go but up. You want to put a photo on Instagram, take a picture of your GPA. And you know the other thing that has us immigrant parents really confused is this modern parenting trend in America right now. People trying to be friends with their kids. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah, right? I know brown people are like, what? No, it's a thing. It's a thing here. There are parents in this country right now telling their kids, don't worry about your grades. Don't worry about your job. You be happy. If you are happy, we are happy.
A round of applause. Anybody in this audience who has children? How many of you guys have children? Great, great, great. Okay. Now, out of everybody who just clapped, clap again if you were married when you had those children. Great. Okay. Now, how many of you accidentally got pregnant from a one-night stand with your friend Craig, and now you're co-parenting a 3.5-year-old? So just, okay. Well, boy, do I have a story for you. Good old Craig. He came over that night to make me feel better. And it was a rough night for both of us. First off, he had 2 bottles of Coors Light, and I had 2 bottles of Chardonnay. So, a very different vibe going on. At one point during sex, he asked me to not throw up on him. So not the whirlwind romance we're all hoping for, right? The next morning, I text him, I go, hey man, I just want to make sure we're good. And he goes, yeah, we're so good. I wouldn't even consider what we did last night sex. And I was like, oh, thank God, me neither. Woo! I was like, so can we make a pact? And he's like, yeah. I go, let's not tell anybody. He's like, no, we're not going to tell anybody. So we made a vow. We are not going to tell a single person for the rest of our lives under any circumstances that we ever had sex. Yeah. Because 3 weeks later, a late period, a positive pregnancy test, we were like, we're going to have to tell a lot of fucking people. Right? So here's the interesting thing about Craig and I. We both come from very conservative and religious families, and we both left them to pursue a career in entertainment and hedonism, okay? So this was not on either of our 5-year plans, okay? Now, Craig was supportive from the beginning. When I say supportive, he was like, I'm gonna support you. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure you make the right decision. Okay, I'm gonna support you. Like, that was him supporting me. Now, I didn't want to be a mom. I should say, I never wanted to be a single mom. I was raised by one. I saw how hard that was, and I was like, absolutely not, hard pass. Did my mom teach me how to make White Russians by the time I was 8? Yes, but other than that, not a lot of perks, okay? Yes. But here I was looking down the barrel of being a single mom, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And my therapist, Annie, said, well, you know, Nicole, sometimes we create what we fear most. And I'm like, yeah, but if that were true, I'd be performing this tonight in a room filled with snakes and pap smears. So, now, ironically, I took to pregnancy swimmingly, which surprised all my friends because I used to eat the morning after pill like they were Tic Tacs, right? You know, sometimes you put them in a Pez dispenser just to keep it interesting. Oh, change it up, right? And I did have doubts. I had those thoughts in my head. I was like, I cannot have a baby. It will ruin my career. No one will ever date a single mom. But at the same time, I had this mama bear energy. I was radiating mama bear energy. Craig, as supportive as he was radiating more of like a midlife crisis, is what his vibe was. Let me get specific here. So, while I was installing a car seat and learning how to breastfeed, Craig got 3 tattoos and a brand new BMW. I'm just gonna tell you this. Before I told Craig I was pregnant, he had 0 tattoos. Today, 4 years later, he has 9, okay? Wait, you guys. Wait. They're all so sad. Oh, they're so sad. These are the saddest tattoos you've ever... There's one, it's like a clown and it's crying. There's another one, it says, eat the rich, which is something only poor people say. And then like 6 of them are lyrics from that band, The Smiths. Do you guys know The Smiths? Right? The lead singer, Morrissey, the biggest Debbie Downer ever. Like Morrissey's Who's in Your Earbuds right before you step in front of a bus on purpose, right? And I think that's 7, 8 tattoos. I'm missing one. I'll think about it. Okay, so Craig comes back to Kansas City with me to meet my entire family. And that's when my dad's like, are you sure you guys don't want to be together? And I said, Dad, no, and I can explain why. Now, here's the deal. I'm an optimist at heart, but I'm also a moody bitch, right? And Craig, 10 times moodier. And so I saw this on TikTok, so you guys know this is verified. Anyway. But I explained it to my dad, and I said, 2 moody people can't be together. A moody person with a non-moody, 2 non-moody, fine, but 2 moody people can. So I said, Dad, it's like putting 2 polarizing magnets together when they're too moody. And you can't, long term, you can't force it. It's just not gonna work. But for one night, if you bend one over, look at that, pregnant. My dad did not like that analogy at all. Cut to September 5th, 2019, in the doctor's room with Craig and my best girlfriend, Corey. The doctor checks my cervix, which if you've never had that done, real treat. And she's like, oh, you're actually dilated to 3 centimeters. And I was like, yeah, that's probably because of college, whatever. And she's like, no, that means the baby's coming. I was like, oh, cool. All right. 24 hours later, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy, 8-pound, 6-ounce baby girl. Yes. We named her Everly Ryan Birch Tovey, which means we hyphenated her last name, or as my dad says, fucking liberals. I should also say that my dad is devout Catholic, and he has 3 kids from 2 marriages. And all 3 of his children had kids out of wedlock. So at a certain point, maybe it's you, The other interesting thing is, while we were in the labor and delivery room, the nurse could not figure out what our dynamic was between me, Craig, and Corey. Because Craig and I, obviously I'm the one in the bed giving birth, but Craig and I weren't the affectionate couple that most married people are, right? So she didn't know if Craig and Corey were a couple and I was the surrogate, or if Corey and I were a lesbian couple and he was the donor. So at one point, my mom makes it. She flies in from Kansas City. She arrives, and it's go time. I start calling shots. I say, somebody grab my left leg, somebody hold my right leg, and somebody hold my head up. And everybody grabs the leg, and my mom looks at Craig, and she's like, are you okay with the head? And I said in front of 2 nurses and an obstetrician, if he was okay with the head, we wouldn't be in this situation now, would we? And now she knows who the parents are, okay? Now, my birth plan, which is an oxymoron, is that I wanted to go into labor on my actual due date, which was ironically Labor Day. I wanted to labor at home as long as possible until it was time for Craig to take me to the hospital, where my daughter would be born to the sounds of Nora Jones and Sarah Bareilles. And then eventually somebody would bring me sushi and a latte, and then I would be back to running my regular 3 miles by the end of the month. Yes. You hear the moms laughing in the audience like, oh, you dumb bitch. That's... What actually happened was I was induced 5 days late. I went through 15 hours of labor, 4.5 hours of pushing. It took 3 sets of hands and a vacuum to get her out. When she was out, they realized my uterus ripped and they had to stitch it manually without an epidural. Now, yeah. Oh, I brought the room down. You should have been there, Way worse for me. So it's like that scene in Alien where you could see something coming up, but instead of an extraterrestrial, it was just my doctor elbow deep fisting me, After that, I proceeded to bleed out on the table. I projectile vomited on my daughter, and I lost my hearing for 4 minutes. But then, they took me to the recovery room where I could breastfeed, okay? Now, this is where it gets interesting. My daughter has something that's called a strong latch, okay? So with just her gums, she ripped off the tip of my right nipple. Yeah. Lactation specialist comes in and looks at it, and she goes, that should grow back. What? What kind of reptile shit is that? It's gonna grow back? You should know it did grow back, and a little longer than expected. So, last piece of advice is that who we hang out with outside of our dating world is extremely important, especially after a breakup. Because after a breakup, we tend to date down, right? and we need our friends to be our radar. Here's the deal. After a breakup, you're not gonna go after the Margot Robbies and the Chris Evans anymore. That's what I call the Mount Everest. You just got your heart broken. You're gonna lower it, play it a little safer. You're gonna be hanging around like Mount Whitney or Half Dome, okay? Or if you're like me, who plays it really safe after a breakup, parking lot of Chipotle, okay? So basically, I'm dating Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings at this point, okay? Because he's not gonna leave, right? So, I had just gone through this huge breakup, and I called my girlfriends, and I was like, I know I'm still healing, but it's been 24 hours, and I met this one guy, and he's really weird, but he's kind of nice, and I think he's the one. And they were like, you need to bring him to the bar right now. And I was like, well, it's a little late at night. And they're like, bring him to the bar. And I was like, okay. So we walk into the bar. Here I am dragging in fucking Gollum, okay? So, dragging in Gollum, and 60 seconds, guys, no more than 60 seconds. My girlfriends have come up, separated us, sent him home in a lift, grabbed me a Sauvignon Blanc, sat me down and said, girl, we need to work on this self-esteem because this shit ain't happening again, okay? Yes, I did have to stop hanging out with this group of married women because they made me feel bad. Well, they made me feel bad while simultaneously complaining about being married. Like, their biggest complaint was, we have to have sex all the time. They always want to have sex. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The women that are complaining about sex have diamond rings on their finger. I'm over here doing Debbie Does Dallas in a hot tub with a guy named Tico, and he won't even accept my Facebook friend request. You know what I mean? Now, when I turned 36, I had the best handle on my life. I was in therapy. I was in the best shape of my life. I was making 6 figures doing what I love, and I was dating a higher caliber of man. I'm talking about the kind of guy who tells other people you're their girlfriend. It was going great, and I actually was dating this one guy. Very briefly, he called it quits, and that's fine, because now I had new tools to self-soothe, okay? I wasn't gonna sleep around or drink my way through every bar. Instead, I could go hiking, I could meditate, and I could call my therapist. Yes, and that lasted for 2 whole weeks.
My boy is 24 years old, and he is married. He got out of college. He met his college sweetheart his freshman year. He said he would never marry young, but he did, and he brought her home. And all right, who in here has had boys and girls? Can you clap? Who do you think's easier to raise? I mean, just yell it out. Boys or girls? Boys. Every once in a while, a little frail woman will yell, girl. And she's probably being threatened. But anyway, no. We love our girls. I love my girls. I truly do. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because my boy will be off with his wife and her people. Because he said to me, he brought her home and he said, you got a terrible look on your forehead. And I said, oh, it's nothing against her. It's just I'm jealous because I thought you would only love me. I know that's twisted. I know it is. But he was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, my kids all yell at me and my husband, everybody's in a bad mood all the time. And he's the only one that's never fussed at me. And he was just the sweetest child growing up. And so when he said he was going to marry somebody and move off, it was awful. But let me say that I love her. And they live near us. And she's like another child to me. And it has been a blessing. She is very sweet and has forgiven me for my forehead looks. But anyway, but he said to me right before they got married, he goes, Mom, she's going to be my immediate family. You're now my extended family. He said, Mom, that's biblical. I thought, why did I show him the Bible? He was born an 80-year-old man. He has had a garden since he was in 6th grade. He plays the mountain dulcimer and the banjo. He woodworks. He makes spoons. I mean, he is so yummy. All right, his favorite music is gospel bluegrass. His favorite, Well, no. Okay. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. All right. His favorite artist was Dr. Ralph Stanley. Dr. Ralph, look at you. Look at you. Knowing who Dr. Ralph Stanley is. Okay, for those of you who don't, he was on the Oh Brother Where Art Thou. That is probably the most famous thing he did. But he was the godfather of Mountain Soul. He ended up dying at like 92. He had a little cowboy hat propped on his head. Yummy. Okay, he would come through Knoxville, and I would take my son to see Dr. Ralph when my son couldn't drive. They propped little Dr. Ralph up on stage because he was so old. I almost threw my panties at him because that's what you do to Tom Jones. And I love him. But anyway, I was standing there listening to Dr. Ralph Stanley singing gospel bluegrass, and I think to myself, how many teenage boys are listening to this? What are teenage boys listening to? Rihanna, Waka Flocka Flame, some of that nasty goings on. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had to yell at my boy, turn that gospel bluegrass down. You're out of control. My second baby is my oldest daughter, who's about to graduate from the University of Tennessee. She's 22, and let me tell y'all, I know every crow thinks theirs is the blackest, but let me say that she is a beauty, and she is smart, and she's done very well in school, and she's in a sorority and done well with her sorority, and she's athletic, and she's mean, and we're scared to death of her. We walk on eggshells around her. She's not mean to other people or in public. She holds it in so that she can come home and like spew it out onto me. This is what I think happens. When she was a junior, her summer between her junior and senior year, I think that God allows this to happen. And you little girls that your babies aren't this old, just listen to me. All right, one day they'll just turn on you. And you'll think, who in the world is this? Who's coming down the steps in the morning? We don't know who this is. I think that God allows that because he knows that you're about to let your baby go off to college or whatever they're going to do. And he knows that you're grieving. So he makes them just as mean as he can so that you can let them go. That summer, the very breath that I breathed out of my nostrils made her so angry. We were not allowed to eat cereal in our own home because she couldn't stand to hear us chew. I don't mean to talk about her because she had a lot on her. She had to empty the dishwasher. Stuff like that. That's so hard. Okay, let me tell you about an example when she was probably your baby's age, y'all's little children, because y'all are so cute. Look, their thyroid's still functioning. Y'all still got hair. Good for y'all. Y'all got on little britches. Yay. Okay. When my middle one, when she was in elementary school, I was so blessed that I got to take them to school and pick them up every day in my minivan. And I would watch them come out, my girls, and I saw them. They were in a good mood. I saw it. All right, they would be goosing each other and waving to all the little children and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they'd come over to my minivan, get in, slam the door. That middle one would take her backpack and sling me in the back of the head with it. She'd say every day something like, I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her Why did you have her? And the baby would be sitting over the bank. She'd be going, Mom, 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 Mom. And I'd say, what? And she'd go, Mom, 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 Mom. I go, what? I'm listening. She could say some of the craziest things. She said to me one day, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer that? I said, well, baby, I don't know. But if he did, I know he healed it. I have 3 children that I'm in love with, and I am now an empty nester. I have 2 in college and 1 married. And you'd think I'd look forward to being an empty nester. Some people go, woo. I don't feel woo. I miss them. My husband misses them. I found Netflix when the last one left, my baby child, she's now 20, when she left, I took to the bed and I ate chocolate-covered blueberries that you get at Target. And I found Netflix and I binged watched Scandal. Have y'all seen Scandal? That first season, the chemistry between the 2 main characters, I think something's really going on. Anyway, it set me on fire. And so I laid up in the bed and watched that and like ordered Jimmy John's from my bed. And my husband said, are you all right? But I ended up getting sciatica from laying in the bed. I didn't get bed sores. I got sciatica and then ended up having to get physical therapy that cost $1,000 because of my deductible. But anyway, I grieve so much over my kids being gone. All right, so when my husband gets home, he's as sad as I am. When he gets home, we just stare out into space. And he's very quiet. He's an introvert. He doesn't talk. He doesn't chat. So I just sit and talk to myself. And we have 2 beagle hounds, and we just sit and kiss them in the mouth. And they are yummy. And we go to bed, and a lot of y'all look really young in here, and I'm going to scare y'all to death, but I'm going to tell y'all, look at these young girls right here. I'm going to tell y'all what your future is going to be, okay? All right, when you get to be about your mid-40s, you're going to start a thing called perimenopause. It's before you go through menopause, and it makes you crazy. And you sweat in the bed at night. Okay, and all your hormones get messed up. All right, I go to the bedroom, and I am so hot at night that I put the air on 68 because I don't want to die. My husband puts it back up on 70. And he says, you're freezing me to death. He's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage. Okay. He said, I can see my breath. That's a lie. But I know he is cold because one time he had to wear a toboggan. But anyway, we get in the bed and that big beagle who is 10 years old, a boy named Augie, who is so sweet. My husband spoons him in the bed. And then we've got a new little beagle that is a pocket beagle, and her name is Gigi, and she is so yummy. And she had a nervous tick when we got her, and she ate our couch. But other than that, I love her. And she gets in the bed, and she backs her little butthole up against my head at night, right here. And when we get, all right, so when my husband spoons that big one will wall his eyes at me and looks like, I don't want him. I want you.
I had to bribe a 7-year-old in the schoolyard. I'm like, listen, I'll give you $20 in a juice box. You can unlock me. Takes him 5 seconds. He hands the phone back to me. He goes, it's not a toy. And I feel sorry for young people because I feel like the whole world has gotten greedy, right? When I was a kid, I was taught to share. I would teach like greed to kindergarten kids to prepare them for this brave new world. Anyone scared about the world? Right? I'd be like, hey kids, we're gonna play a fun game. It's called Duck or Get Ducked with an F. Now, Johnny, you have 2 fruit roll-ups. Why? Well, my mom says I should share. Well, your mom is stupid. I want you to hold on to those fruit roll-ups, and I want you to steal all of Sally's cookies. But that's mean. No, Johnny, that's America. I want you to stop crying because I want you to go into Timmy's book bag and take some of his Adderall. Not all of it, because he needs to focus. But enough to kill your appetite, wash it down with the chocolate milk, and sell the remainder of pills to Donna when you call her a lazy fat pig. But Donna's my best friend. No, kids, cold, hard cash is your best friend. You got that with a C? Cold, hard cash. Now, I want you to learn all these skills, otherwise you're gonna wind up with a student loan debt that you're never gonna be able to pay, with some useless college degrees that you're never gonna be able to use, working at some electronics sweatshop, living on your parents' couch, addicted to marijuana brownies and video games, waiting to die. I love my teachers. I loved my teachers. If I didn't sleep with my philosophy teacher, I never would have graduated. I had to take a D to get an A, all right? That was before the Me Too movement. Now I'm the woman you see before you. And you guys, man, I feel bad, but you don't know how to compliment a woman. It's like you don't know. It's like, am I gonna get arrested? Am I gonna get laid? What are you in for? I told her she had nice shoes. She said she didn't feel safe. Well, did you know her? Yeah, she's my fiance. So anyway, my last boyfriend was German. I like the foreign guys. And you know how beautiful and romantic that language is. We're newly together, we're in the height of passion, we're making love, and he's really getting into it. He's like, ja, und ich liebe dich und Liebling, und ich liebe dich. I felt like I was with the Terminator. It's like, I will be to cause you to death, and then I will be back to make you cry like a girly man, yeah. Now, my friends loved him because he was so industrious, because he was German. And he's like, I noticed that your friend's son does not have a swing set. Yeah. So what I did is I took all the aluminum from all the beers I drank this afternoon, and I made a swing set for him, yeah. I'm like, maybe you're drinking a lot of beer. Nein, I'm German. My body's built like a Brita filter. So goes in as the pure alcohol, comes out as the fresh water. Perhaps you'd like to try some. I couldn't make this up if I tried. Then he wanted to spice things up in the bedroom. He was like, I thought maybe perhaps together we watch the porn, yeah? Now I'm a good sport. I'll watch a little porn. You ever watch a little porn? But that hardcore stuff, you seen some hardcore? Come on, what do? You seen a little stuff. Every time a guy looks to the side, he's seen it. I'm sorry. Because women, we see softcore. We don't even take it seriously. You've seen some porn, right? It's always some silly storyline like, I wonder why the pizza guy is so late. And then the pizza guy shows up with that bad porn music, like bow waka waka wow wow, bow waka wow. Or maybe it takes place in a Parisian hotel late at night, the sun's setting. You could make out the woman's breast. She's wearing a sexy negligee. You hear French music in the background to set the tone, like Je pense qu'à Champs-Élysées, amour je calera. And maybe it's a complicated storyline, like she can't get the window to open, you know, something that sucks you into the drama. And she's like, I did not know what the problem is. I cannot seem to get the window to open. I want to take my clothes and throw out the window. Let me call the maintenance man. Pierre is so sexy. Then Pierre shows up. He's all French and hunky. He's like wearing a thong and a hammer. It's like, ma chérie, what seems to be the problem? She's like, I do not know. I cannot seem to get the window to open up. And it's so hot. Maybe you can open the window. I will watch. Oh, ma chérie, I will fix this broken window and I will fix your broken heart. I'm so in love with you. Marry me, you're so beautiful. The credits, the music, the je comprends ce cas, je comprends le chanson amour. It's nice. It's nice. I saw the hardcore version of this film. And I'm still recovering. It's like, hey, I see that your window's a little busted. Let me fix that for you. Bam, 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 bam. You like that, baby? Bam, 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 bam. I'll show you a baguette. Bam, bam, bam. You like that? Bam, 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 bam. Don't fall out. Bam, bam. You like that, baby? Bam, bam. Remember the film now? I'm like, oh my God, poor girl. And he didn't even fix the window. You guys have been awesome. Thank you.